Should not take you too long. You got a minute on the clock.
Wait, is that 7 divided by those numbers? Or is that
That is the square root of 5, 21, 138, and 267. Sir.
Do you want us to write the exact number or the rounded number?
I want you to round the nearest tenth. All right, peeps, what do you got? Square root of 5. Volunteer, come on. Isaac.
Yeah, 2 when I rounded it.
So just 2?
That's when I rounded it.
So you just rounded it to 2.
Yeah, because it was 2.23.
Okay, but to the nearest tenth would be what?
Oh, I rounded the wrong place.
Yep, rounded the wrong place.
Well, wouldn't it still be?
Nope.
Sure.
Positive.
Who's lower?
Rounded the nearest tenth. So what, it's not just 2. What is it? All right, what was your whole number?
Like the whole entire number?
Yeah, what'd you get?
2.236067977.
Okay. Where's the tenths place?
Right behind the decimal.
Right behind the decimal. So there's the tenths place.
Yeah.
So if I said round to the nearest tenth,
Yeah.
what would it be?
Wouldn't it still be
2.2. So not just 2. And maybe you and I misunderstood each other. But remember, if you round the nearest tenth place, you're looking at the hundredths, the one right behind it, to find out what's going to happen to that particular place value. Okay? How about square root of 21? Go for it, Abigail.
0.
One more time.
5.0.
5.0. Is she right? I don't think so. All right. Somebody got something different? Ma'am? 4.6.
Oh.
Round to the nearest tenth. How about the square root of 138? Jason, what you got? 12. What else? Point what? 12.7.
That's right. 'Cause
Okay.
The 4 it's a 4 behind.
All right. So last one, square root of 267. Lucas.
16.3.
Be careful what you're being asked to do. Are you being asked to round the ones place, the tens place, the hundredths place, the tenths place? Identify what you're being asked to do, because yes, this is going to be a real thing that you're going to be asked eventually to do. Or for that matter, today with lesson 5.2, we're literally comparing both rational and irrational numbers. Specifically, just kind of looking at what the irrational numbers are and trying to display them just in terms of a rational number. That's where the rounding comes into play. Less than, greater than, and equal to is one of the things we're going to be also exploring today, but not, extreme depth. But this is just a good place to start. So, I'm back up all those up. Yeah, back. So I can use it later. Yay! Awesome. All right, so 5-2 is where we're going to start. Page 63. 5-1. Y'all got the gist for yesterday in a nutshell. And Ashma, if you'd like to go back and watch yesterday's lesson, it is posted on Google Classroom for you to kind of get the gist. Mm-hmm.
Are you recording right now?
Yep. So, as a reminder, told you last week, starting yesterday, Tuesday, I figured out all the things about how to upload everything to YouTube, save, that kind of good stuff. Mrs. Bourne kind of really helped me the most. So yeah, every single lesson, every single day, be recorded. So for whatever reason, if you're out, hey, guess what? You can go back and figure out what we did. Yes?
Does it have our voices too?
Sometimes, yes. It depends on how low you talk and how close I am to you.
Or do you talk loud like Molly? I don't talk loud. You're like yelling. Stop.
Yeah, don't yell. Don't hurt my ear. Okay, so we're just approximating. So yesterday we talked a little bit about, square roots, also perfect squares, where things kind of fit between each other. We took some notes. Today is not necessarily as note heavy. So just this very first one, we used a calculator, the book did it for you, square root of 3, this is the answer. Yeah, it kind of continues on the other side because it is irrational. So 1.7320508 after that. So if you were to ask or be asked, in relation to here and here, where does it fit? Is it closer to 1.7 or is it closer to 1.8?
1.7.
Okay, why?
Because the 3 behind the 7 is over the 5, so you can't round it up.
Beautiful. So this right here, this 3 right here, basically tells you that it's closer to 1.7. And one of the ways you're going to be asked to kind of compare them in general is which number does it push closer to? It's not that it's going to be exactly the same, but it's close. And when we're trying to figure out kind of the exact value of an irrational number, that's the nuts and bolts of what you're going to be asked to do when it comes test time. Is just literally, where does it fall? How close does it come? Trying very hard, to not make it too difficult for you in general, but just kind of give you an idea. So with this, I'll be honest with you, in regards to this whole scenario, as far as how does it compare, where does it terminate, that kind of stuff, it's not as relevant for you as far as helping you get to your final goal. So we're going to kind of skip over example A. But just for your information, to kind of give you an idea of where it kind of stops, this is where the decimal comes from as far as the thousandths place, and then how it kind of ranks out. Notice the top is bigger than the bottom, just to kind of give you that whole 4.9, 4.8 thing. So, all right. What might be a rational number between A, 2 and 2.1? Take about a minute. Think of a number that falls between 2 and 2.1. And yes, there are several different numbers you could possibly use.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm. There's a whole lot. So give me one example. What in the world? Hang on. What in the world just happened? Okay. My palm must have hit the other button.
What about 0.1?
All right, so 2 and 2.1. 0.1, that is not in between. So if I had a number line, here's 2, here's 2.1. Give me one example of something in between. Ma'am. One more time. 2.01 would work. Yeah? Can you give me another one?
I have a question.
Hold on.
2.02.
2.02. Sir.
How does that work? Because the 1 and the 2 are in the hundreds place. So how does that make something go to the tens place?
The 1 and the 2 are in the hundredths place. You are correct. Okay? So, I'll give you an example. So, you've got $2.
I get to keep it.
Jason's got $2.10. Okay?
Okay.
So, what lies between, money-wise, between you and Jason?
9 cents.
9 cents. So, if I had to say $2, I don't have any pennies, but we'll go ahead and say $2.09. Is that between $2 and $2.10?
Okay.
Okay? All right, so hold on. Your question was the 1 and the 2 that the two ladies put out for an example are in the hundredths place.
Yeah.
So let's think about it in terms of money. How many pennies are there in a dollar? 100. Okay. So, and how many pennies make up a dime? So here's the dime that Jason's got. 10 pennies. Okay. So, how many combinations, just using the hundredths place or hundredths place, are there between 10 cents and no cents? Because $2 has no cents attached to it. It's just $2 change. That's all you got. He's got $2.10. So, how much money, quote unquote, is in between you and him? 9 cents. Because he's already got the 10 cents. If you added 10 cents to you, now you would be equal to each other. However, we want to go in between. So that's where the 9 cents kind of comes into play. So anywhere between $2.01, $2.02, 03, 04, 05, 06, 07, 08, 09. Now, can you throw in the thousandths place as well?
No.
You can't?
Because you can't have that money.
Technically, you can. It's not real. There's not really a coin value to it, but there is a thousandth place actually used in money economics quite often. And I'll give you an example. The peso right now is worth, actually it's worth a little more than what it used to be. It's worth, I think, $1 for every peso is the equivalent to roughly 15 cents on the dollar. Okay? It's worth less. Okay? And it's okay that it is, it just is. But in the Mexican economy, the basis of the economy is based on the peso. So kind of like us, it's based on the dollar. Now we do have change going along with it, but pesos are pretty much the standard for the Mexican economy. Just like the euro is the majority of Europe, and I think it's the BK, or they go back to the pound in England. I don't remember. They kind of broke away. They did Brexit something or other, and they did whatever. But every economy has a basic for what each thing is worth. You know, if you had to come down to the basics of our particular economy, you go down to the penny. But can you split a penny? Yes and no. Mathematically you can, but there is no coin value for it. But you can.
How do you split 1 cent?
Another day and time, I'm going to show you a little bit about stock trading and how stocks are valued. And they'll say how a certain stock is worth an X amount of coins or X amount of dollars. But if you split it so many times, like if you split $1.23 5 ways, because 5 different people buy that stock, it's possible, but they just always own a smaller percentage of it. a lesson for a different day. But at the end of the year, I promise I'm going to find a way to get that lesson for you. So give me an example then between 5.3 and 5.4 and C, 10.6 and 10.7 on your own. Go, find one. Find a combination. If it helps to think, as I was talking to Isaac and the rest of you for that matter, in terms of pennies, do that.
What page is this on?
This is 64.
You want to just write all of them down?
Just A. I don't need 15 of them. I just need a number that falls between the two. Ruby, can you give me one that goes between 5.3 and 5.4? You haven't done it. We'll do it now. Give me something. Think in terms of this. $5.30. $5.40. Give me something between it.
5.35.
Awesome. 5.35. Definitely falls between these two right here. I'll take it. Indy, give me something that falls between 10 and 6/10 and 10 and 7/10.
10.61.
I like it. Now, Isaac asked this question. You can't go anywhere, okay? Why is it always possible to find something between the two of them?
Because of the hundreds place.
Okay, I like it. You could even go so far as to say, and this just kind of takes you back to when you first started learning, about just decimal points in general. There is this place, this place, this place, this place, this place, this place, infinitely going down the food chain as far as the decimal points are concerned. Now, as you go this direction, what happens to the size of the numbers?
Smaller.
They get smaller, okay? But even though they get smaller, do they still have value? Yeah, they still have value. So, let me see if I can actually. I'll do it in here a second, because I wanted to show you something about the question you had about money less than a penny. I'll show you here in just a minute. Okay, so, all right. Here's your example. Now, this is the meat of what we're going to do today. Can you put them in order? Least to greatest, greatest to least, whatever it may be. So, on example B, that's what we're kind of looking for. Just, can you put these in order? Now, we've got 4 different numbers, 2 of which may or may not be irrational. So you're going to have to round those to something. We have 9.3 and 8.1. So if I wanted to round these two right here to make them comparable, where would I put them? What would I round to?
The nearest.
Maybe the nearest tenth. If I do that, all the numbers kind of look the same. And that's what we're looking for. Try to make them to look the same. Kind of like last week when we were literally ordering things with percents and fractions and decimals. and I made the comment, try to make them all the same form. Try to make them all either fractions, all either percentages, all either decimals, whichever. But try to make them to look the same. If you can do that, then it's a little easier for you, hopefully, to put them in order. So, grand scheme of things, we're looking for that right there. So, here's what I want. At the bottom of that page, page 64. Try these, B, A, B, and C. While you do that, I'm going to look for something for Isaac to see if I can get him to see something a little clearer. Careful with that pi there. It's on C. Careful with pi. I'm going to give you 3 minutes. Okay. Remember, try to make them look as close to each other as they can. It makes it a little easier for you to put them in order. Need another minute. Okay, 1 more minute. All right. Here we go. Put them in order. For A, what comes first? Abigail, what comes first?
3.6.
3.6. Okay, followed by what? One more time, Jason. 4.1. Okay. Then which one? Square root of 14 or square root of 16? Lauren. Square root of 14. Making that one square root of 16. Anybody have something different? Speak now. Forever hold your peace. All right. Okay. Ashma. B. Which one comes first? What did you do, perhaps?
Nothing.
You didn't do it at all? Why not? You don't know what you're doing, or you don't want to? You don't want to. Okay. Well, thanks for being here today regardless. Indy, what comes first?
We're on B, right?
We're on B.
11.8.
Awesome. 11.8 comes first. Okay. Followed by what? Wait a minute. Hold on. That's not right. That's not right. I'm sorry. So this is the square root of 135 first.
Oh.
It's all right. Okay. Oops. Where'd my... Oh, I'm on freeze. Duh. Because I was looking for something for Isaac. Where'd you go? There we go. All right, square root of 135, then what? 11.8. All right, then what? 12. And then finally, square root of 150. All right. Maya, what comes first on C? Square root of 6. So which comes first next? Pi. Pi comes first next. As was kind of pointed out, pi can be rounded to 3.14. Remember, it's not exactly 3.14, but to try to make it similar to each other, it kind of helps out. So we got to be careful with that. So what comes next after that? Isaac. 3.4. And then last but not least, square root of 14. Now, if I may, do we feel comfortable taking square roots, figuring out what they are, rounding to something to try to put them in order? Yes, no? Ashma, how about you and I work together once we get kind of done here to see if I can help you get what you lost yesterday? Sound like a plan or no? Okay? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. If you don't want my help, it's okay. All right, so here's where we're at now. Real quick, just because I told him I would try to show him something. Really? Okay. I just got to pull it there. All right, so gas prices. Current. $2.83. 83 cents, but 7/10 of that. Occasionally, not always, but occasionally, you'll see something. Oops, which one is that? Oh, we're over here, back here, and there. So, occasionally, on a sign that you'll see when you drive by a gas station, you'll see something that looks like this.
Is that the thousands?
That's the thousandths place. And part of the reason why this is the actual price kind of goes back to this other thing that I found that I thought would be helpful for you. I think I have to use my mouse to do that though. I just put in Google. Now, I don't know how many times y'all really use Google just to find out information. I think I use it more times than anything. But what I put in was how many gallons are there in a barrel of oil? Now, that's just kind of the standard unit of measurement that you pull out of the ground. They put it in barrels. The barrels literally are 42 gallons of oil apiece. And you could always look at the history as to why that kind of worked it up. Basically, it comes down to materials. It's cost savings of how much material can I spend to literally store this oil. So this 42 gallons, though, that 42 gallons literally has to be split up because each of you has someone who drives in their house. But in case you didn't realize it, each car or truck or motorcycle holds a different amount of gas. They don't all have the exact same size of tank that holds the gas. So when you get back to this piece, I'm not quite sure how to get there. Let's see. Oh, when you get back to this piece right here, that right there will change. Well, not the cost of it, but the amount of gas you can put into a car changes. How many of y'all actually pump gas for whoever drives occasionally? They ask you, hey, would you mind pumping? Have you ever looked at the gallons that get put inside the tank?
Yeah.
Have you ever actually paid attention to that? Sometimes, now, for example, my car holds 9 gallons of gas, but it's not always completely bone dry when I actually go put gas in it. So by the time I'm done, if I say, hey, I just want $5 worth of gas because I have an electric car, that may only wind up being $5 is probably 2.038 gallons of gasoline by the time it's done. Now, if I got to the low part where my car says, hey, by the way, you need gas, I don't always put 9 gallons in there, but if I did, it wouldn't be exactly 9 gallons. It may be a little less, just because I had enough gas to pull into the gas station to stop and load up again. Sir?
So what's the difference between diesel and regular gas?
It's how it's refined. So how the oil itself, that 42 gallons, how that's kind of put together. Pieces of it are gasoline, and that's regular unleaded. Piece of it are what's called mid-grade. It's in the middle. So if you ever look at the
buttons.
Well, yeah, the buttons, but also just the sign that says $2.83 for regular, $2.90 for mid-grade. Diesel may be somewhere in between. Diesel burns a lot slower, which means it can go further as far as miles are concerned. It's also used in really large vehicles because a lot of things have to go through the gears. I've got a friend of mine who literally, that's what he does. He drives trucks for a living. And he operates through 12 gears. And each gear takes a little bit amount of fuel to actually make it burn and make it go. And that's what diesel does. It's just a little bit, it's how it's refined. It's how oil is changed to fuel for cars. The specifics, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not going to lie.
So that's why it's more expensive?
Yeah, sometimes that's why it's more expensive, but that's also why it also is more economical for people taking really long trips because it doesn't burn as fast. They don't go through it as quickly. Apologize, I can't really answer that question for you effectively. All right, here's what I want you to do. On page 66, I want you to look at 8 through 12. Yes. Would you like my assistance to kind of show you some of the things that you missed yesterday? Okay.
Can I use the restroom after?
Yes, ma'am, you may. basically all you missed yesterday was learning how to take a number and make a square root of it. That's what you kind of missed yesterday, the bulk of it. There were some notes, I'm not gonna lie, in regards to the differences between rational and irrational number, but really what I was trying to get them to see and learn how to do was to take any number that you possibly can think of and take the square root of that and really work with the background on how to do that. So for example, one of the numbers that we did was the square root. And remember, square root is just above the x squared key. Okay, so square root of, and this was the one number that we were kind of working with, square root of 18. This is what's called an irrational number. To give you a short amount of time back to you, an irrational number is something that doesn't repeat and doesn't terminate either. So you notice all these numbers don't have a recognizable pattern on how to repeat. Not like the 0.33333 or 0.6666 or whatever it may be. So that's where that kind of comes. It also doesn't stop as far as terminates is concerned. Like a half is 0.5. Okay? So one of the ways that we started talking to be able to compare was a regular number, kind of like the rational numbers that we talked about, where you can put something over something, and that's that number. Those sometimes will stop or terminate or they'll repeat. We have to find a way to see how these kinds of numbers are the same. To put them in order, or say this one's bigger than this one, or something like that. Okay. So one of the things that we did in general was saying, okay, gotta remember place value, and that's something that if you need assistance with that, we may have to do that a different day. But the tenths place, the hundredths place, the thousandths place, and so on. A lot of times, what we're going to get asked is to round to either the tenths or the hundredths place, not always the ones place, because if we did that, we were saying, oh, they're all the same. Not really. Can we give him $2 and him $2.10? Is that the same amount of money? Is it kind of close? Kind of, but not exactly the same. So we just have to make sure we know the differences between the two. So, like this right here, purchase number 8. So first thing we did, this is what we did in class, but putting these in order. So if I wanted to start with, just happened to be square root of 18. So that's kind of what it's equivalent to. But you have this number right here, and this number right here. And this one is unique. That's pi. Okay? Pi is also here on the calculator. It's right here above. That's right here. So in order to get to that, if I hit this number, so second and this, and hit enter. Classic 3.14 start the whole shebang, and then that's the rest. But can you put these in order? Want to give it a shot? Okay, give it a shot. Put those in order. You want to go to the restroom after that? Okay. Give me just a second, Caroline. Shift this back over here. Shift this back over here. Oh, Isaac, I kind of wanted to show you this. Thought it was semi-neat. Stock prices. They constantly change. Stock market opens on the East Coast in the U.S. at 9 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. So that would be 8 o'clock our time. But as these crazy people on the floor start buying and selling different stocks, the stock index will change. So that's basically the volume of the number of stocks that's traded. Kind of sum it up a little bit. Making it kind of small. But for example, Apple, okay, you know what Apple is?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So Apple, right now, each piece of paper, or each percentage of the company, stock, okay, so one piece of stock, that means like 1% of the entire company, or probably even less than that really, is $228.48. Compared to yesterday, okay, you notice it keeps changing. That's, yes, ooh, missed it. Yesterday's price was, I think, $228.30 or something like that. So now it's going down, okay? But if you notice, now it's even again. It's kind of fun. It's kind of weird to watch, but so this is plus 0.04%. So that is 4/10 of a penny or 4/1000 of a dollar. So if you think in terms of, let's say for example, Apple has 100 pieces of stock, okay? So 100 pieces of stock, but you don't have $228 to spend on one certificate of stock. So you and Jason and Ruby pull your money together and say, hey, we each got $70. Oh wait, might need one more, but we'll go ahead and go with that. So we each have $70, and hey, Mr. Bourne, can you chip in like $5 or $10 just to kind of make it to where it's supposed to be? Sure, I can do that, but now we each own one piece or a third of that one piece of stock.
You all share that one piece.
Exactly. So if Ruby says, hey, done, I'm out, I don't want to own this piece of stock anymore, she has two options. One, she can literally sell her piece of our stock to somebody else. Or, and then she has to say, hey, I got to take this right here, I got to divide it 3 ways to figure out how much I can get for it. Or she can say, hey guys, you 3, you want to buy it from me? And you say, yeah, sure. And then you pay a certain percentage, you pay a certain percentage, I pay a certain percentage. And eventually, she's bought out. But the rest of us, 3 of us now own that one piece of stock. But not at the same value, because you may have put, I don't know, $70 in, so did Jason, so did Ruby, I put 10. So our shares really aren't equal, but they're close. But yeah, this is kind of freaky to watch. How it all kind of changes.
When you buy a part of stock, what do you get in the stock? Do you just get the money from it, or do you get the product?
Good question. Good question. So when you buy, let's say for example, you buy a stock of Apple, okay? Today you bought it for $228, okay? Tomorrow it may be worth $200. You lost money, but you didn't technically lose money. You own a piece of the company. Now, what you choose to do with that is kind of up to you, but you now own the ability, if let's say for example Molly is in charge. She is, not that he's alive anymore, but she is the Steve Jobs of Apple, the CEO, Chief Executive Officer, big guy in charge, okay? If you don't agree with something she said or did or whatever, then you can say, hey Molly, I really don't like that, and I paid into your company. So I would appreciate it if you would either say sorry for that or whatever. And she'll say, no, well fine. Then I'm just going to sell my stock and be done with it. Okay? So you take the risk. Is it still worth what you paid for it? Or is it worth less or more? If you sell it for more than what you paid for it,
then you give the company more money.
well, you give yourself more money actually.
How?
Well, you get the profit.
The company doesn't?
Company doesn't. The company just gets the trust that you're earning. But if they're operating the way you want, I'll give you a really interesting example. No political ties here whatsoever. Nike, yesterday, came out with a campaign, and it's not listed here, but Nike lost 3% of its stock in less than a half a day because of a marketing campaign that they had. Now for Nike, Nike's a pretty big company. Nike, that 3% equaled $3 billion. Okay?
A lot of money.
That's a lot of money. But if you think about it, I'm just seeing if I can see it. I'm sure it's here somewhere. I may have to actually go look. It says most active stocks.
I have no guess what I.
Ford, AT&T. I'm not seeing it. It's okay. But
Not look it up.
you see a search bar?
I don't know. Go back. No.
I don't see a search bar.
Yeah, there's one out there in the corner.
So this is it where? Oh, I saw it. Where was it?
Go up.
I saw the spyglass. Where'd it go?
Slow, go slow. Look, there it was again. You can pass it.
Where is it?
There.
Right there. Corner.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm not sure what its name is, but we'll see. That's not really what I wanted. I just wanted the stock price. That's not what I wanted. I don't really want to get into the whole whatever thing. But if you notice in the time period that we've kind of been talking, Apple keeps going up and down. Okay? But, so, the trick is, Apple says, hey, this is how many pieces I'm going to sell. Okay? Awesome. If they get money back, yay. If they don't, well, that's good too. But bigger companies can stand to lose that kind of money over time.
Money.
But also keep in mind, Apple just hit the $1 trillion mark as far as its net value was concerned. That's a lot of zeros and a lot of money.